Sup everyone, I'm back once again for another video review, as I just saw a couple of movies over the past weekend or so, and I wanted to give my brief thoughts on some of these movies because I really wanted to let you guys know how much I dug these next couple of movies. I'm going to start out by talking about the first movie I saw over the weekend, which is The Menu. The Menu was looking to be one of the most interesting films I was looking forward to this holiday season. Really, I mainly became interested in this since I first saw the trailer to this, as it had a pretty intriguing premise, as a group of very high-end class people are invited to this very fancy dinner on an island run by one of the most well-renowned chefs in history, played by Ralph Fiennes. Little do they know that this chef actually has some darker plans in store for these people, as this seemingly fancy dinner turns into a chaotic night of mayhem that we see unfold as these characters are witnessing it firsthand. It looked like a really neat thriller centered around food, and with the high critical praise it has gotten, I figured this would definitely be one to check out. And I must say, this definitely was a satisfying meal to say the least. The intriguing premise is fulfilled very well due to a lot of different factors. It's your typical kind of thriller with a few twists and turns, and all quite well crafted from its editing to cinematography. Though, what really holds it over the edge for me is that this is one very well done script. And I think that's due to how this film manages to be a great allegory for the artist versus the critic when it comes to art. This is a film that does a great job tackling the kind of needless pressure an artist can have while satisfying their core audience. Sure, it's done with food, but much like another cinematic classic you might be familiar with called Ratatouille, the stuff regarding food here can honestly be applied to any real art form as well. The way Ralph Fiennes' chef's character has so much passion for his work while also calling out the snobbiest pickiness of people over the smallest of things is very hypnotizing. It's also a film that discusses a lot of issues of class and power, which is to be expected when your basic premise is all about screwing over rich jerks. All of this is intriguing thanks to some really great dialogue throughout. All the words said from Ralph Fiennes regarding his whole plans, and also just critique on critics' judgments, it's a joy to listen to. Plus, I should not go without failing to mention the performances, which are all great here. Goes without saying Ralph Fiennes is the definite highlight of the whole film as expected, but I also wanted to mention how good the other actors are in this, particularly Anya Taylor-Joy, who works off excellently with Fiennes in so many scenes where they're just fighting to be the show stealer. I do also want to mention Nicholas Hoult as well, who's not as center focused between the two other characters, but I found him very entertaining in this. If I have to mention a fault of this movie, there was a part of me that kinda saw where this movie was going to go at points. It might be because I'm sort of used to these kind of thriller type movies to get the vibe of where it's going, but I don't think there were as many surprises as I would have liked to have seen. There was even a small thing that I don't want to reveal at the risk of spoilers, but earlier on there was one sequence that I felt was setting up for something big later on, but it ended up not really going anywhere. However, that doesn't change how well this movie really holds your attention despite all of that, as I was engaged throughout and really adored what this film had to say about criticism and how we should tackle it in regards to acknowledging the artist's work. So overall, I definitely recommend checking out The Menu. If you want something to satisfy your appetite this Thanksgiving holiday, then I say definitely check out what this menu has to offer. And I'm gonna give The Menu a 9 out of 10. The other major film I saw over the past weekend was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. If there was any animated film I was most looking forward to this year, it would hands down be this one. No secret that Del Toro is a director that I've always admired and loved, bringing some fantastic pieces of art within the past 30 years or so. Even when he doesn't make a great movie, they are almost guaranteed to be interesting in some way, as he's a director who always tries new things. With the case for this movie, it was definitely exciting as Del Toro was going into the realm of animation. Not just animation, but also stop motion and a retelling of the classic tale Pinocchio. I know it's been an odd year for Pinocchio films, but regardless, this is still good news. I mean, after all, you could just actually... Wait, no. I'm not even going to joke about that. There is no reason to watch the Disney remake version of Pinocchio with this movie existing.
I've got it. Chris Pine!
In all seriousness though, it's pretty poetic that this is the competition because it's so rather fitting that the superior movie for sure is honestly one of the most bold films to have come out to have ever been labeled as a family film. Del Toro, alongside co-director Mark Gustafson and screenwriter Patrick McHale, know their shit, as if it wasn't clear from the marketing of this movie, they truly respect the medium of animation by giving us a retelling of an old tale that feels new. Sure, the basic story and a lot of the beats are still similar in this version of Pinocchio, but the changes of this movie certainly feel welcome as it updates the tale without feeling modernized. Instead, this is a film that talks about a lot of mature subject matters. It deals with death, religion, and even, believe it or not, full-blown fascism. If there's one argument that could be made for this movie, it is admittedly that it might not be the most subtle about this particular topic. They make it pretty clear that this is a critique on fascism, yet it still feels appropriate here. I think because it does showcase the true darkness behind it all in a way that kids could understand. And it does add to the story as well, as this film does showcase some iconic imagery. Del Toro is no stranger to visually stunning movies, and the stop motion animation here is outstanding. It has just the right amount of nostalgic charm while still looking so incredibly smooth movement-wise. Del Toro knocked it out of the park with its character design, with every single character looking distinct and fitting for his own interpretation of this story. Also have to mention how excellent the voice acting is on all fronts. You hear a variety of different voices from big name actors like Christoph Waltz, Del Toro regulars like Ron Perlman, and even a few voice actors, including one I don't want to reveal, but might be one of the funniest casting for a voice actor to have ever been casted as in terms of historical figures. All of them do a great job, with the highlight for me being Ewan McGregor's delightful performance as this version's interpretation of Jiminy Cricket. Known as Sebastian in this film, I found this character very charming with how he ends up learning from Pinocchio in this film as well, making both characters very strong versions for this retelling. Sebastian even has a nice little song and also deals with some of the funniest fake outs for a musical number I've seen in a film in quite some time. Which, one last brief thing I want to mention aesthetically is that these songs are quite good. I'm not sure I would call this a top tier animated movie soundtrack, but I do remember a decent amount of the songs here, and they all fit the movie very well. Only time will tell depending on how much I re-listen to these songs, but as far as non-Disney animated musical goes, this is definitely one of the best ones. Also helped that this film's music is boosted by a lovely score from Alexandre Desplat, who once again teams up with Del Toro for a ton of sweet little melodies. I can't really think of anything I truly dislike about this at all, because this film just had so much heart and soul to it, particularly with its overall theme, and that is to make life and the people around you worthwhile. It gives an optimistic outlook on life without trying to make light of the more depressing elements of it. It does deal with the harsh realities of some things, but also doesn't make it a downer either, as this movie emphasizes how great the experience of life is just for how you can make an impact as an individual. It's about what you can do to make others happy and live those experiences with other people that make it such a worthwhile time to be alive, regardless of what bad things are out there. So in total, this is the exact kind of stuff that makes me truly happy that a director like Guillermo del Toro made something like this for the medium of animation. Pinocchio is a must-see film, and I highly implore you to check it out if it's playing in a theater relatively close to you. Even if you don't see this in theaters, be sure to watch it as soon as it's on streaming for Netflix, because this is one not to miss out on. It takes a true talent like Guillermo del Toro to really make it hard for anyone watching this film to not think that animation is one of the most creative and beautiful things to ever have come out to the world of cinema. So take that for what it's worth. And I'm going to give Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio excellent movie, great work of art. So with that all said and done, what did you guys think of The Menu and Pinocchio if you guys happen to see it yet? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys again next time. Take care and happy holidays.
Ciao papa, mio papa, time has come to say farewell.